Hey guys, welcome to another day with Zimaleta. This is the sprinter behind me that I was trying to start that was not starting before. I'm basically at the point where we left off last time, that it wasn't starting. I haven't done nothing else. I just ended up putting the battery back into it. I haven't tried starting it, but I know the battery is fully charged. This here is a fuel rail, kind of goes in like this. What I'm thinking is wrong with it is actually the fuel rail. It's not producing enough enough fuel pressure in order to actually start the vehicle up. At least this is the guess right now, because sometimes you cannot start the sprinter up if one of these seals go bad. I'm not sure which one of them goes bad, because it looks like, at least like on my fuel rail, you could remove both of them, but supposedly you could only remove one of them, but they both looks like they got like parts numbers and stuff on them, you know, so I don't know. I've heard you could only get one of them. But so basically guys, here's where we at. Next video I'm gonna just put a time lapse of me replacing the fuel rail, and you know, hopefully we could get it started after that. So once I replace it, you know, you guys will know if it's gonna start. If it's not gonna start, we're gonna go to the high pressure fuel pump. Most likely that's going to be the next case. If that's not going to start, then I'll have to hop to the fuel injectors and replace at least one by one with a, you know, fuel injector, or just go ahead and replace all of them, or at least which ones I can pull out anyways, because a lot of times with these sprinters what happens is the fuel injectors get like so stuck in there because they're not installed with no like NTC's lubricant, and the Mercedes, they sell the high temperature ceramic type of grease, which is ideal that they sell. But I also heard that Vaseline withstands really high temperatures. I would like somebody to confirm that, but somebody that works at the Mercedes actually told me that that watches my channel. So who knows? Maybe that helps, but I don't think I'll be using that anytime soon. But anyways, guys, let's get to it. Okay guys, I have installed the fuel rail. I guess it didn't take too long installing it on time lapse. So let's try to get it started. Here goes nothing. Well, guys, there you have it. Doesn't start. And I'm sure a lot of you guys that's watching this, you guys are do-it-yourselfers. You guys pretty much know a lot of stuff that's going on, and you could probably tell me something I don't know about this thing. But in the way I'm feeling right now, the way I'm thinking, from what I could hear, it almost sounds like it's got low compression. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's definitely not the fuel rail. In a way, it's a good thing. Looks like I'll have another good fuel rail. I am smelling some kind of smoke. It's probably coming from somewhere where the starter is, probably from starter wires, from all the pressure I'm putting on it. The way it seems to me, it's having a really hard time cranking it over. Like, it's struggling. Like, in my experience, sprinters, they turn over very lively, very strong. This one, it's very weak. The only time it feels kind of like it's weak like that when it's turning over, well, not really weak, but it just takes a while for it to start, is if there's like a head gasket leak, or like a high pressure fuel pump is leaking. It's not really creating that much pressure, so it's going to take longer for you to start it. But still, this is a very lively battery. This is a brand new battery that I've tested, the same one I tested last time. I just actually purchased it like about, like, I don't know, like a month ago or a month and a half ago, and I keep it well charged by actually sticking it in and out the sprint and just having it run a little bit, and just charges it right off. You know, that's what it's designed to do. But I'm definitely not happy that this is going on. I will make another video of me trying to replace the high pressure fuel pump, but that's going to be a whole huge job. I'll need to disassemble the whole front end and everything else to even, you know, get to that point to where I could do it. And what I could do is, when I remove the actual high pressure fuel pump, I could see immediately like if it's bad or not. Like, but I'll still throw another one on there, just that way I could make sure that, you know, it's supposed to be starting. But somehow I'm being less and less convinced that I'll be able to start this vehicle up. The problem feels to me that it's internal, but I'll continue trying to test it. Definitely not today. I got my schedule full, but I'm gonna actually move it to its permanent location, and I guess I'll go from there. Like, if it's that's what it's going to be doing, if it's not going to be starting, then I'll just turn the sprinter into my parts sprinter, because it's just pointless for me to try to really rebuild this engine. I do have all the parts to do it. I may attempt doing it at some point, just you know, as an experience type of thing, to share with you guys the actual rebuild process. But I'm definitely not short in supply of those kind of videos. Like, there's a Sprinter over here that you're really not seeing right now. That needs a head gasket job, so that's already going to be, again, a whole job that I'll need to disassemble everything and install it. So that's going to be a lot more newer type of videos, better quality type of videos, because the way I started my YouTube channel, guys, you've seen some of my season 1 videos. I was using my Samsung Galaxy Note 4 type of phone, and it does good video, but the sound quality probably not the best. This is an iPhone 7, you know, it's definitely better for sound. And I'm using a tripod to make this video, which makes for a very nice type of video. But with that one, I was holding it in one hand, guys, and a wrench in another. That's the way I disassembled an entire engine. I know it's like hard to believe. It sounds even stupid, you know, but I just dived in and I just started doing it. And I'm like, oh, I'll shoot some videos. And I wasn't YouTubing at the time. I wasn't sure how many videos I was going to do. So I just kind of figured, you know, I'll shoot some videos, you know, and then I said, you know, I'm going to put them online. And that's what I ended up doing. And so the whole idea came out to be, you know, I'm going to share my experience. I know I'm just a normal type of guy. I am mechanically inclined, so, you know, I am capable of fixing stuff or having some kind of common sense, you know, how stuff works and how the stuff, you know, fixes. But, you know, sometimes you get lucky and it's just something little, you know, to fix. And sometimes it's just like this. It's probably like this engine, guys, probably had its peak of life. I believe it's like 700 something thousand miles. Let me pause this video and I'll tell you how many miles this thing has. I just checked. It's 703,000 miles on this engine. So this may give you guys some idea as to how long some of these Sprinters can last. Now, of course, if you take good care of it, it's going to last you a lot longer. I had a Sprinter that I purchased with 650,000 miles. It had a lot of problems. It had a lot of leaky fuel injectors and stuff like that, but I keep replacing the parts, keep putting new parts on there, and I had it last till 844,000 miles. And before the engine threw a rod, I was already hearing like a slight tapping sound when the engine was working. It didn't quite, you know, feel right, but I already had some money saved up. Like, I had a little bit over 10 grand, you know, for my next Sprinter, and I kind of figured, you know, let's say 144,000 miles, I'll just go ahead and buy a brand new Sprinter, you know. And I looked around and I'm thinking, dang, some of those Sprinters are very expensive, and they were like $45,000 and close to $50,000, and I wanted a 4-cylinder twin turbo, and of course they have problems of their own, but it would be an economical type of option. But I changed my mind, guys. I figured, you know, I don't want to have that payment. I don't want to have that hanging over my head, and it's just gonna make you feel like you're not your own man, you know. You're basically a slave to your vehicle. You have to like pay it off, and I just don't want to have that feeling. I already had that feeling before. I had a brand new Sprinter in 2007 where I was paying it off, and after a couple years I put like 350,000 miles on it, and I still owe $27,000. And I said, you know, it seemed like a good idea at the time to purchase it, but not anymore, because the vehicle is not even worth that much. It's almost kind of like owing too much in your house when in a depreciating market, to where you owe more than what the house is worth. Same thing like in a car. And typically for a car, I mean, everybody knows that the vehicle loses value once it leaves the lot. It kind of makes sense to just get a used vehicle and just upkeep that and just keep driving. And even like Dave Ramsey, he makes a statement where he talks about, you know, having a used car, and he compares it like to a newer car. And he says the price that you would pay, like, let's just throw out my numbers, because I don't remember his numbers exactly, but it's going to make sense. Let's say you buy like a $50,000 BMW, you know, and you know, of course you're gonna have payments for the next 5 years or 6, you know. So let's say you get a used BMW for like 10 grand or whatever. Well, you're gonna end up, I mean, you'll have like all that money, you know, sitting there, like, to replace an engine. You could basically replace an engine 5 times on it, or 10, you know, depending on where you're gonna get it. So that's just the point he was making, that in its lifetime, all that money you would have saved, you could have used, you know, for repairing your vehicle anyways. And some of them, they just last and last. They'll go like above 500,000 miles easy, you know. So it's just kind of like almost like doesn't make sense to get a brand new vehicle. I don't drive brand new vehicles. You know, some people think, you know, like me, that it's a good idea, and of course some people might think, no, you know, you only live so long, you know, might as well splurge a little bit and have something newer. And I think you're right, and the people like me, you know, would be right, because we all have kind of like an idea and we're willing to stick to it. Some of us want to drive something nice, we're willing to spend a little extra. Like I might drive something nice, but I didn't really spend that extra because I would just buy it used and it would still be just as nice. But anyways, guys, when we're speaking of these older Sprinters, and getting back to my issue where my engine blew and I decided to just buy a brand new engine, these are workhorses, guys. This is not something, you know, you go out on a date with, you know, even though I have many times, believe me. I take my wife on a date in my Sprinter with my kids and stuff, and they happen, and I think it's the best thing in the world. But I think most of you guys are not going to be taking your date out in your Sprinter, in these old Sprinters. But they are money makers, and it does not matter if your Sprinter is new or your Sprinter is old. They make the same, you know, whether one is going to break more than another, you know. But here's what I noticed, guys. I've been driving pretty much trouble-free all this time. I bought a new engine in 2014, and it's 2017 now, guys. I didn't have any trouble out of the engine. Let me see if I replaced anything. I don't remember me replacing anything. I did replace some electronics, which were original electronics, but even then I didn't need to replace it. Like what I replaced, you guys seen in some of my earlier videos, I replaced the ignition tumbler, the actual, not the electronic portion, but I replaced the mechanical portion because it was causing a problem where on the dash, it was basically when you turn your car off, the little dash portion would light up for a few seconds and it'd go off. And it keeps doing that, and then it burns a number 10 fuse, which is the same fuse for your instrument cluster, the whole cluster. But once that fuse goes out, it also kills your license plate lights. And I actually got pulled over for that by a cop. I didn't know that they were dead because I was driving and my instrument cluster just died, and you know, boom, you know, those license plate things didn't work, and the cop pulled me out. I'm like, I got good lights in there, and I tried to change them on the spot. I'm thinking they're not even burnt out, you know. So immediately I replaced the fuse, and they were working, and you know, I got it to last a little bit. But you know, getting back to the engine, it does make sense for me to just get a new engine or a used engine and just put it in. The only thing you got to worry about, the engine that you get in, the used one, how good is it? How long is it gonna really last you? Well, you need to go in there and take it out again. It's one thing if you're doing it yourself. It's totally another thing if you have to pay somebody to do it, because you might end up paying somebody like between $900 and $2,500 to install that engine because, you know, you got to pull it out, and then you got to pull it out of another vehicle, and you got to put it in, and you know, it's a lot of time involved. So you know, so it might not make sense to keep replacing them. But if you guys are wondering how much is a new engine for a Sprinter, I paid $7,000 for mine, and I got it straight out of Mercedes. I did see it online for as low as $5,000. Of course, there's a core charge of $900. So if you give your old engine back, then you could save the $900. But sometimes it might worth it just paying that extra $900 and keeping your own engine, because you're gonna have good turbo in there, you're gonna have some fuel injectors, and you know, and all those other parts that's on there that you could use, and they're not really that cheap. They're not cheap, so you might need them for repair here and there, you know. So believe me, guys, because I own all these Sprinters, I constantly like replace like little parts here and there, you know, and across all Sprinters, and I save money like that, you know. So but anyways, guys, thanks for watching. God bless you, take care of yourself, and if you have advice on this Sprinter, let me know, and we'll go from there. But little plan for this one, I'm gonna order myself a kit to test the compression. I don't have one, and I think before I do anything else, I need to do a compression test. And as I told you guys in a video before, prior to this, that the shop that had it previously, if they're not lying, they said they did a compression test, and it was low in 4 cylinders. Only one of them is good. I didn't really believe him because they seem kind of like a dishonest shop. And you know, it was low in 4 cylinders. And I think before I do anything else, I need to do a compression test. And as I told you guys in a video before, prior to this, that the shop that had it previously, if they're not lying, they said they did a compression test, and it was low in 4 cylinders. Only one of them is good. I didn't really believe him because they seem kind of like dishonest shop. I mean, after all, I mean, what can you really expect when you get the vehicle back? I towed it here to my home, and it had a missing transmission control module, and to this day we don't know who took it. So it's not even a guessing game anymore. It's just like, are they telling the truth? Because I asked those guys, I said, well, what was the compression test readings? And they cannot give me the readings. So, you know, how am I supposed to know that they did it? You know, the only way I'm gonna really know it is by actually doing it myself, and that's removing the glow plugs and checking each individual cylinder and writing them down myself. And I'm gonna do that in one of the videos and show you guys how the compression test is done. Of course, some of you guys already know it, but you know, my channel is for everybody. But I gotta think about it like this, that some people are gonna be watching it for the first time because they just bought a Sprinter and they might not be mechanically inclined. So I gotta be very thorough with what I'm saying, so that anybody can understand kind of like what's going on. That's why I'm not really being this, like, you know, like expert type of language, you know, like that mechanics use. I don't know it to begin with, but I'm not about to try to fill you with words that you're not going to be familiar with. I'll just talk to you regular, you know, and if it's easy to fix, I'll tell you if it's easy to fix. This printer seems like it's a little bit, it's not a usual situation where it doesn't start, you know. But anyways, guys, I've talked long enough. Take care. God bless you. See you in my next video. Bye-bye.